Hello, Bible readers. It is Tuesday, August 18th, and we're reading Exodus 24 through 26 and finishing off Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13, to start there, it's in my Bible, it says other parables. It's a grouping of teachings that Matthew is lifting up from different materials that he has in front of him. Mark being a gospel that he would have had in his hands, what scholars call the Q source. Matthew would have had lots of different stories to choose from. Each of these were among his favorites, you could say. These are the ones that he especially wants to pass on, that represent what's meaningful to his community, and what he thinks will be meaningful to the Christian community in times to come. I'm wondering if you might have a favorite, or one that especially evokes questions for you, as parables can feel more like riddles than teaching sometimes. As for the section of Exodus that you got to read today, as I was reading it, was reminded, and I mentioned a little bit about this yesterday, here we go, right? The details of the lampstand and the bread of presence and the mercy seat and what it all feels so distant and irrelevant to how we worship, to what we need to know about our God. This is like talking to a friend and they're giving you a very detailed story about something that happened to them when they were 8 years old, and you're not 8 anymore, and you just kind of listen along like, okay, maybe you're not listening as closely or with as much interest as you would otherwise. So let me offer some motivation or some a little more, maybe this will make it a little more interesting. Imagine that in the context of covenant at Mount Sinai, God should take care to think through, speak about, and propose modes and procedures whereby Israel can count upon with certitude a rendezvous with the Holy One. It's almost like not a time machine is being constructed here, but a God machine is being constructed. I mean, it would be like Doc Brown from Back to the Future explaining to someone who's never heard of a time machine how the flux capacitor works. This is God giving details of how to connect with God. I mean, talk about an invention. The telephone, the cell phone, the TV, all the inventions we've had over the last 150 years. This is it's not a machine, but it's a way to connect with God. There is, in our own time and place, a deep hunger and yearning for reliable contact with the holy mystery of God. I agree. This text invites the community to imagine that meeting and to receive the offer of presence given in the text. First things first, such a meeting with God is possible. Second, such presence is not immediately available, but is mediated through the regularized disciplines of the community. And so that's why this is all laid out very clearly and with great detail. This is presence for ordinary times when there is no crisis, but simply a deep abiding hunger for that which can satisfy and give rest to the restless. This text affirms that there is in God a counterpart to human restlessness, and that is a willingness to meet. So each piece that we hear about, the ark, that's there to provide a place for testimony. The mercy seat makes possible reconciliation and forgiveness. The table has on it a bread of presence. That is a promise of nourishment. The lampstand, this shows how God has power to push back darkness. Each part of what we're learning about in these chapters is very significant and speaks to humans' wonder of whether God has the ability or willingness to meet us with any regularity. That's why prayer is such a big deal. Prayer in Christ. Maybe I just, broke the suspense there, but we don't have to set up and construct all that stuff. We've got prayer. Anyway. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.